This episode of Moving the Needle podcast is presented by BOA, the dialed in fit that keeps riders and athletes ready to push the limits of human performance. Whether it's race day or a long day in the mountains, the BOA Fit system delivers micro adjustable precision for a confident, focused, and fearless ride. Luca Shaw, welcome back to the show. We sat down. I think it was the previous US Open. That was a good chat. But I thought, what better way to end off your best season, I must say, than having a chat and just trying to understand how an off season looks, but also dig into what happened out there, man. What a good season.
Yeah, thanks, Needles. Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, feels like the season's like it was only 2 weeks ago that it ended, but it feels already so far in the rearview mirror. But yeah, no, buzzing with how I finished the year, and yeah, stoked on the whole season in general. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Do you do a good job of switching off as soon as the off season starts with how long these seasons are? Like, what are you doing to try mentally recover?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I feel like the end of the season is such a weird transition from going from being like so busy and so focused and so like invested in one thing to like all of a sudden being like literally having nothing to do. It's quite a weird transition. I always feel like it's a bit of like a letdown. I don't know. It's really nice to like get to the end of the season and be able to relax and chill out and do whatever you want. But it's also like such a strange change of pace. So yeah, the last like week or two, I've been really lazy and not really done much, and it's so nice for a while. But then I already quickly start to kind of get bored. But no, it's been really good to just get home and um, catch up with people, and yeah, just be home really because yeah, haven't been home much at all the last 8 months. So um, but yeah, it's always a funny time of year, and I feel like I start to enjoy the off season more when I kind of get back into more of a routine, whether that's like riding and training a bit or just like being like yeah, remembering what I do when I'm actually at home because it's like yeah, it's been a while, but no, it's been good.
I remember those days, you itching to have the season wind down or finish so you can get home, you can have an off season, you can do nothing. And then in
Yeah,
the beginning, you maybe not in the same schedule as your mates, like people that are not biking, or you've got football season that you're going to go to the games and tailgate. And then once that kicks in, you get into that routine. You're like, okay, I'll get a bit more active. And then you got to switch over to the new routine. So it's funny how we are creatures of habits as humans, and that you actually miss a schedule, miss a routine, even though it is a grind, even though it is hard.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and for me, like pretty much all my friends have jobs. So and I'm like home during the day, like all like I was like I'd love to go hang out with my buddies, but everyone's at work till 5. So no, it's a funny it's like a funny little transition for sure. But yeah, it is a nice it's a welcome change because it was a long season. So happy to just be a lazy like couch potato for a little while if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, especially if you're third in the overall, you've earned it. I mean, there was those years that you were qualifying fastest, and you had your reasons that it didn't go your way, but you've shown such remarkable resilience, and you've always had the consistency. But I was blown away with how strong the field is. Like, you were one of the guys that mostly got through Q1. I know there were some times you went to Q2, but looking at the results, like, the guy that won the championship almost had as poor result as your worst result, and that speaks to something. Like, how does it feel reflecting now on third overall in the world, especially with how cutthroat it is, with no protection? You could easily
Yeah.
throw away a race or two, even though you're riding incredibly well with like a flat tire or something in Q2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I reflect on the season and look back at the all the races, I'm incredibly proud of how it went, and yeah, I mean even like you said, like even just qualifying for every race, 10 World Cups with no protection, being like Q1, Q2, like the stress, like honestly the stress of those are something that was completely new to me. Um, So even just to qualify for all 10 World Cups and be in the final every week was already something I was really proud of, and like a big accomplishment. I think, like, I think there was only 3 riders who finished every finals. Like, I think there was only 4 who qualified for every finals. So like that's already, that's already something I'm really proud of. Um, so yeah, I mean, and then to finish third in the points is crazy. Like it wasn't really something on my radar at all this year, if I'm honest. Like I just wanted to take it race by race. I didn't think about points at all, which I think is the right way for me to kind of go about a season. Um, and yeah, in the end, it ended up better than I expected. So um, yeah, really really stoked on it. I mean, and also to finish the year strong because like last season, like 2024, I also had a really consistent, solid year, but the last 3 or 4 races like really didn't go well at all, and it left such a like sour taste in my mouth. Even though the season as a whole was really good, I went into the off season pretty disappointed. So I really didn't want to have that happen again. So this year was almost the opposite. I was riding better than I ever have, and had two of my best races ever right at the end of the season. So it's way better to go into the off season like that.
Do you think the way it ended last year fueled you in the off season, and maybe is some of the reason why this year went the way it went? Like it's kind of a catch 22 to end on a high. Do you then get complacent? And if you don't end on a high, you're like more motivated. I mean, obviously you'd rather end on a high. Let's be honest. We all know that. But in a
Yeah,
weird
of
way,
course.
it gives you a kick in the ass when it doesn't finish too well at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think it was so much a case of like having more motivation because I was like not satisfied. I think it was more just like kind of a good reminder to like, okay, like let's relax when we get to the off season. Like don't let up. Like, there's only a few more, like especially towards the end of the season. We're racing so late in the year now. Like it's starting to get cold again. Like the weather's starting to. It really feels like okay, the season's winding down, and I don't know. I felt like like in 2024, I sort of started to relax maybe a little bit like mentally like before the end of the season, and this year I just really wanted to stay like focused and disciplined, and just be like, right, let's finish the job here, and we'll really relax when the season's actually done. So yeah, I mean, I think it helps too having like races in North America at the end of the season. For me, I feel like it's a bit more it's a bit more motivating, and I can imagine like for the Europeans, having to like travel overseas at the end of the year. They don't really have to do that ever. So have them having to do that, I'm sure they start to kind of like the motivation probably drops. But for me, it was high. So um, yeah, I wanted to race well at home. So I think that helped.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there was that grueling last stretch. I would presume in a perfect world you would love to do the US Open, right?
Yeah,
You've enjoyed that in
yeah,
the
and I
past,
really
but you
was
had to make an executive decision there for your energy, right?
for sure. Yeah, and that was actually like I thought about it for a while doing US Open, and I really wanted to. I mean, I enjoyed it last year, and I it was a race that I really wanted to do. Like, and I was bummed to miss it, but I think in the end it was the right decision for me to go home for a week and like, yeah, just prepare myself and rest up and come into those last 2 World Cups fresh. Like, uh, it's such a being fresh and being like motivated at that point in the season is a huge advantage. So I knew it would. I knew it was the right choice in the end, and I'm glad that I took that week off and was able to kind of save some energy. But yeah, with our schedule, especially like 10 World Cups is a lot of racing. Like it's way more than we've ever done. So when you get to the end of the season, you're not really looking to do any more races. Um, so yeah, it was a hard decision, but it was the right one.
Yeah, some people will be like, oh, they've only got 10 races. Well, you've got testing and other races, and other sports have more. But I think you said an interesting thing. It's like the first time in a long, well, first time ever we've had 10, right, in the modern era, or just
Yeah.
ever, I guess. Um, And with the traveling, North America, Europe, all that stuff, you're away from home a long time. Like it is something to get used to. Like, yes, we could race more, but it would take time to understand when to go home, when to have a break, like how to, periodization would be key as well from your trainer, like learning
Yeah,
what does Luca need to make it through 10 races. I remember, the people like Troy and, me from Southern Hemisphere, it was a drag 3 quarters of the way through. Like I did have a dip in form, and then I would maybe go home for a week or two, and then do the last little stint. Like you're saying, when you go home, it resets you. Um,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I mean, when you look at it like 10 races over a calendar year, it doesn't sound like much at all. But I mean, with our races, it's not like you show up and race and leave. Like it's a whole week that you're like on site at the venue with track walk, practice, quali day, race day. Like it's not like, I mean, people like compare it to like supercross and motocross. And I mean, those guys have a grueling schedule for sure, but their race format is one day. Like
yes,
they show up, they practice, they quali, and they race on the same day, and then they go home sometimes that night. Um, like for us, especially,
and
yeah,
sleep in their own bed,
not
right? Like that's
yeah,
huge.
yeah, they go home every single week. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that's easier or harder. I mean, I would say it probably is harder their schedule, but it's just different. Like you really can't compare. Like I spent this, and I mean, it works out. It's I do it because it's easier for me, but I spend so much time in Europe. Like I spent 3 weeks at home from April to October,
really.
like basically never home. So like, and of course I've got like a base in Europe, and my girlfriend, Yolanda's from Europe, so it's not like I'm not living out of a suitcase the whole time, but it is still a lot of time away from your normal routines. Um, so yeah, 10 World Cups, especially the way they did our schedule this year, it wasn't exactly the easiest travel either. I mean, we had two races where basically have 1 or 2 days off and you have a 15-hour drive, and there's really no good way to fly. So yeah, they did us dirty with those two.
Yeah, shame. And then I saw there was like a Saturday race as well. Like the one was a Sunday race, and then it was quite
Yeah.
far, and then I think it was a Saturday race. I was like, yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
is grueling. Like
Ludenville
it's all
Toledo
about
game.
like energy management. I think people at home might presume we're bitching about being able to race a bike for a living, but it's just giving. I like the inside info. Like it's all energy management. It's
Yeah.
all, like if you at your office till Sunday night late, and then you had to travel and then work again. Like I wonder if people would working a normal job would realize, okay, you're a bit burnt out. You need a break to be motivated again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm absolutely not complaining. That's
No,
for
definitely
sure, but
not.
it is a lot of stress, and like especially like this season, no, not being protected. I mean, that was the most nervous I've ever been racing. Is
I
like
heard you say that.
because
Let's unpack that.
yeah, like I've been lucky my whole career. Like I've basically been a protected rider since I got into elites. Like my first ever elite World Cup, I got 10th or 11th or 10th, and then from that point on, pretty much for 10 years straight, I was protected. I think there was one, maybe two races my whole career where I wasn't protected into the finals. So I didn't realize how much I took that for granted, because like this year, I mean, top 20 at a World Cup in Q1 is like it's 2, maybe 3 seconds from the fastest guy in the world. The time gap is so tight. So there's really no mistakes allowed, and you have to not only ride mistake free, but you have to ride almost race pace. Like it's really really gnarly. So yeah, not being protected, and that pressure of like knowing, okay, like if I make one little mistake and I'm 23rd, I'm gonna have to go up again, and then it's really do or die, because yeah, that was honestly such an adjustment for me. The first, I mean, I feel like even towards the end of the season, I mean, even when I knew I was riding really well, like shit happens, and you can never really like guarantee that you're going to have a top 20, no matter who you are. So yeah, that pressure was something different for me. Like honestly, race day in the final was relaxing compared to qualifying day. And that I think really added to like the stress and the just the whole season. I think it like really makes you tired. Like it's a lot of pressure, man. So that was something to get used to for sure.
So, what was your strategy going into Poland, the first one, with this new format? And what was maybe the talk in the team room and the pits versus what you were doing later in the year? Like, I could only speculate from the outside. And then I started realizing my strategy, if I was to race, it probably would have been wrong. I might have been a bit conservative in Q1. And then I started realizing it's, as you mentioned, you got to Hail Mary the first one and just try get through. And if you have to go
Yeah.
up again, that one's definitely Hail Mary and it's a race run. But did you have a more conservative approach in Poland? And how did it develop across the season? And did you compare notes with Troy? Maybe Henry is more, like younger, so ignorance is bliss. You've got Fabian Barel in the pits probably in your ear. Like, if you will, without giving away secrets, can you
Yeah.
take us into the locker room?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I think coming in my I kind of felt like coming into the Poland for the first race, I think people were more, at least people I talked to were a little bit like more relaxed than they should have been. Like, oh, we've got two chances to qualify. Like, yeah, there's no protected riders, but we have two shots at it. And I was all along I was like, I'm gonna go into Q1 like it's a race and try and go as fast as fast as I can, and think of Q2 as like a last resort kind of thing. Like basically never want to go to Q2 if I can the whole season. I knew that'd be really hard. But so yeah, and Poland was extra tricky as well because it was muddy and it was like really like the track was changing a lot. It was sticky, muddy, raining sideways, like really cold. So that added to the stress as well. Like, I mean, anytime there's a mud race, it's a whole nother variable you have to kind of think about. So yeah, I mean, I was stoked to make it through the first few rounds without going to Q2, but I think everyone's attitudes towards it switched up pretty quickly, and I think that by like the second, third round, people were like, okay, like Q1 is like race one almost, like think of it as like it basically like race one, race two, and I think people started to really like basically prepare for Q1 as if it's a race, like leave no stone unturned and really focus on doing a good Q1. And because no one wants to go into Q2, and also, you can save the energy. You can, you have a little bit more of a confidence boost for the final. So yeah, I think it was interesting little learning curve there. And then for me, honestly, for me, the two times that I had to go to Q2, Val di Sol, I crashed in Q1. I would have been in, like my splits were good, but I crashed. And then Leger, I also had to go to Q2. That was another muddy race. So I kind of didn't like, that was one of those things. Like I just rode bad and made a bunch of mistakes and had to go to Q2. But interestingly enough, I almost felt more relaxed when I was in Q2 because there was like it kind of felt more like a race. It's like, right, okay, I gotta go for it here or else my weekend's over. You're not thinking about like, oh man, it's gonna suck if I have to come back up again. Like at that point it's like do or die. So to me it was like less stressful in a way. But
Okay. It's like almost more simple if you're forced into Q2. It's like, okay, well, I can't gauge
yeah,
a top 10 speed here. Like, it's just as fast as
yeah,
I can go with staying on the bike, right?
yeah, to save my
Okay.
weekend. Like it's like
Yeah.
there's no like, I don't know, I felt like there was less strategy, I guess, or I don't know. It's a funny one. But yeah, Q1 was nerve wracking, man, every single
What, the
time.
whole year? Just the whole year? You just like,
Yeah,
it's worse than the race day on Saturday or Sunday when it was race day, huh?
yeah, it's just different. Like, I mean, at the end of the year, like the last few races, especially, I knew I was riding really well, so I knew that I didn't have to do anything crazy. But it's still like, you dab a foot, you can't get your foot back in, and there goes a second, and then all of a sudden you're like on the bubble. It's just, yeah, it's cutthroat, man. Like I think there might have been a race either Andorra or Leogang where I think it was 2 seconds. Like it might have been like 2.1 seconds from first to 20th.
Well,
Like
Leo Gang's always
I'm
close and was, and then Q2, those times, most of those dudes were like back in the top 10 of Q1. Like if
yeah,
you put all the times together, like
I
Q2
know.
went crazy fast there. And
Yeah,
Andorra
so
would have
it's
been
like
close as well. You're right. That's madly close.
yeah. So getting your head wrapped around like that is kind of nuts cuz I mean, I still think of like if I'm 2 seconds off the top time, oh, that's top 5 easy or that's like
You,
in the mix.
it
But
used to be.
now if you're
Yeah.
exactly. Now it's like you're 2 seconds off Bruni or Jackson, like these guys who are on just such an insane level, you're not even qualifying, which is I really like I don't like to think about that because that just adds to the stress of it, but,
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
it's
say like
honestly, it's
that's obviously
impressive,
not a
like
way. That's not a way to get through these races. But I know we're reflecting postseason. But in the race, like that's
yeah,
the last thing you would hope. Well, it will slip into your mind, but you obviously, jeez,
yeah.
that's fascinating. Like I guess I have to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on the format, or what is a format you would like to see if it's that stressful for someone that's third in the world? Not just the stress, just like the
Yeah,
cutthroat of like you're third in the world, but you have a high chance of missing a race from bad luck, not bad form. I'm not
yeah.
saying you like have two clean runs, you don't make it. Like okay, reset for the next one. But
Uh,
like, what do you think of the format, and what would you like to see?
like, selfishly, yeah, it is a lot of stress, and it's tough on everyone, not just the guys on the bubble, it's tough on everyone, but I think when I think about it and I reflect on like, what people I know who watch the races think of it. Like I do think the format is really good. I think it's exciting for the fans, definitely exciting for the racers. But um, the only thing I would say is I think it's important that we still maintain like a high amount of races throughout the year. Because I think if you have a format like this where, yeah, you can get a flat or be unlucky with weather or whatever, and you like miss a race or two, if it's like we had back in the day where there's only 6 World Cups a year, like that's your season done as far as like points. I think with like 10 or 10 plus races, I think the format works really well because I think you can miss a final and still end up with a good overall ranking because there's enough races to kind of like make up that ground. Um, so yeah, I think the format's really good. I think it's exciting. Um, it definitely adds like an element of like I think you have to be able to deal with that pressure, and it's like that's important to be a good racer. I think it's a good test for us. But yeah, I think it works well when we have enough races to where yeah, when you would do eventually miss a final because whether it's just an off day or bad luck or whatever, like it kind of you still have room in the season to make that ground up. So I think with 10 races it works. I think if it was like it was back in the day, it was like 6, 7 World Cups. It'd be a real shame if top rider misses one race and then that's kind of his championship done. I think that would be a bit of a shame, but for as it is now, I think it's a really good format.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the honesty, and that's a great point. If you look at it with enough races, you can have like, not that they allow a throwaway, but you could afford to have I think me just from the side definitely is more exciting. It's fun to
Yeah.
watch from the bench where I am. I guess in a perfect world, I have mentioned it before, so I might as well mention it. Like I would like maybe to push it up to 40 or 50, same Q1, Q2 style format. um, do you obviously you're at the pointy end of the field? Do you like? I guess if there was a vote, does that really change it for you? Say there were 40, like it just takes a little bit of the pressure off, but the format's still exciting. That maybe helps most guys that are on form probably not miss a final the whole year, so that everyone's like on an even playing field. Do you think there's a
Yeah.
negative to
I
what I've
mean,
just said? Like, say there's 40 in the final, 30 and
I,
10, or whatever the numbers are. Like, what am I missing? Do you think that's a negative?
I don't really think it's a negative. I just think that I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the whole they want less riders in the final. They want it to be a more like compact show, I guess. um, I do think that, I mean, there's definitely more than 30 riders in the world capable of, racing World Cups and getting great results. Like the field is so deep. Like, so yeah, I think it's a tough one, honestly. I think that, it's a tough one. Like, I think if you move it to 40, then there's going to be people advocating to move it to 50 and then
Yeah, yeah, you never
60 and
please
then you're back.
everyone for
It's like,
sure.
where
Like,
do you draw the
yeah,
line?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it is World Cup downhill. It's the pinnacle of the sport. It's the best riders, the top riders. Like, I think the show and the whoever, UCI, Warner Brothers, I think they do need to put their focus on the top riders and the I mean, that's what it's about, right? This is the pinnacle of our sport. So it needs to be, I think there it needs to be kept pretty exclusive.
Mm.
Um, but whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know, man. Like it's tough to say. I think 30 works pretty good. Um, like I said, I mean, we do have two chances every race to qualify, which is a kind of a nice thought to have in your head. Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely see, I see that it is tough for those guys who are on that bubble who used to qualify when it was top 60, and now they're kind of, they might race a whole season still, but only qualify for one or two races. Like that is tough. I do feel for them. I mean, hopefully I'm not in that situation anytime soon, but I see that. I mean, those riders are still the best in the world. They're still incredibly fast. Um, I do think it would be great if there was a separate series or a feeder series or whatever you want to call it, um, as well, which I feel like it hasn't really come up yet. I think there's some stuff in the US like Pro Downhill Series and other other places for those guys to go to and fight for podiums and wins. But um, yeah, I think that conversation will go on for a long time. Like, what's the right amount of riders? Like, is it should it be 80 like it used to be? Is it 30? Is it 20? I don't know. I just feel like you're always going to find people on either side. So,
Yeah, fair
uh,
enough. Fair enough. I
I
think
think I
you've
think
hit
it.
the
I
nail on
do.
the
I will
head.
say, like, I think the format and the package that they have right now, I think is really good, and I think that it's exciting for fans, and um, I think they're doing a good job. So I like the majority of the rule changes that they've made in the past few years. So uh, I'm happy if it stays like that for a while.
Well, it's good to hear, and it's cool to hear you like put a stake in the ground and be like, yeah, I am happy with it. Like, obviously, it's everyone has an opinion, like you said. Wherever you
Yeah,
make the cutoff, there's going to be people in the bubble that would be like, oh, if it was just a few more, and then where do you
exactly.
draw a line?
Yeah.
And I do agree. Like, I guess I should have prefaced that I would ask the question away from the broadcast. I agree. Like, broadcast has to be tight. You have to create that
Hmm.
package. I'm just seeing like a little knock on effect of some teams are going to struggle. Certain riders that, maybe form's not there or came back from injury. I'd love to watch them in the final,
Yeah,
especially on the
for
day.
sure.
But broadcast, anyway, let's not lose the podcast too much on all these opinions, which you know each to their own. I've
Yeah.
been vocal on some, and I think the racing has been exciting. I think the championship was amazing. Those guys playing into the championship was cool to see. Obviously, you were not close enough in points to affect that, but it was cool to see you at the end at Mount St. Anne, on the podium and on the overall podium. But let's dig into that. I mean, Lake Placid, that was exciting, dude, and I felt for you after that mistake. So you qualify fastest if anyone was living under a rock, and you have what looked like an horrendous top split.
Yeah,
It
you could
just
say that.
it just didn't go your
Yeah.
way, and I was like, no
Yeah.
ways, that sucks. But then fast forward to the finish line, you brought it back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, even like backing up to like Lenzerheide, the previous race, like that was the first time in a while that I really felt like, okay, I can win this race today. Like, I qualified second, like so close to Bruni, and I felt really good all weekend. So I already felt like I kind of choked that one away because I had really good splits. I was second at the third split and then made like a massive mistake and ended up ninth, which, if you just read the results, it's like, oh, a solid race. But to me, I felt I was I was devastated after that race. I felt like I had a top three in the bag, and I really thought I could have been close to Amari. Um, so that one really stung, and I was really really bummed after that race. So yeah, going into Lake Placid, I mean, brand new track, place I've never been. In the U.S., I was like so excited to race. And then yeah, from track walk, I saw the track and I was like, oh, this has my name on it. Like I knew the whole like bottom was pretty flat and like really important to carry speed and a lot of sprinting and pumping, and I'm usually pretty good at that kind of stuff. So um, I was just having fun on my bike all weekend, and it was the most confident I've probably ever been at a World Cup. Like I remember like sitting at the top for like quali, and I was like, I knew that if I didn't make mistakes, I'd be top three in quali. Like I just
You just had that feeling, eh? It's great
yeah,
when
I
you
just
have that
kind of
feeling.
yeah. And I mean, to be honest, I've very rarely been that kind of rider where I'm like that confident. Usually, I feel like I'm not second guessing, but I'm always like I'm aware that like even with my best run, it's going to be tough to be you know you can never count on being at the top, and for some reason at that race I just knew that I was riding as good as anyone or better than anyone. So um, qualified first, and I was like I just kind of expected it, which was a weird situation to be in, like um, but it felt really good to I was like, all right, this is cool. Like haven't qualified first since 2018. It's a long time ago, and now I've qualified first at the U.S. World Cup. So I was like, this is going to be crazy. And then yeah, the race day was it was nuts, man. Like I just remember sitting in the start gate, like the last guy at the top of the hill, and like the top wood section was quite gnarly, and there was like quite a few fans in there, and they just started like chanting my name like with a minute to go, and it was so quiet at the top of the hill. I just hear like people just chanting my name in the woods, and I was like so fired up. And so yeah, that kind of backfired a little bit because I the top section was a nightmare. Like I remember thinking in my helmet like a minute into my run, I was like, man, I choked again. Like this is so like I was honestly like just so like disappointed with how I was riding like halfway through that race. But then yeah, halfway down I sort of like gathered myself and like took a deep breath on that long like tuck on that like flat spit in the middle, and from there down I rode really well. I knew that was kind of like the strong point on the track for me anyways, but uh yeah, I knew that I had lost too much time to win the race. I had a huge mistake that I almost crashed, and I was really actually looking at it now. I'm just so glad that I didn't crash. But yeah, I lost like way too much time, anyways. So, but then yeah, crossing the finish line, I didn't expect to be second because I thought I'd be further back. So I kind of was like crossing the line, ready to be like really disappointed and bummed out that I kind of choked, but then saw where I was second, and I was like, oh man, can't be bummed with second. Like it tied for my best result ever. And of course I would have loved nothing more to win that race. And I know I could have won that race, but I quickly made the decision to not be bummed and be stoked with how I rode and stoked with the weekend. And no, it was great. To be on the podium at my home World Cup, be the last rider down. It was a cool day for sure.
Yeah, I guess you'd take that if someone offered it to you before the week starts, before you see the track,
Exactly.
right? You would take
Yeah.
it. But you mentioned the fans at the top. Like it's awesome that you had that experience. You had to take it in. So what happened? Like, do you feel like that kind of got you too sort of hyped up and you came in a little aggressive? Like, is it a racing incident, or now on reflection, do you think like, okay, with the fans and you wanted to give it your all, like, did you come in a bit hot to this top section? Like, what do you think caused that bad first split?
No, I mean, I think it's like, I mean, for me, I feel like there's no way I'm ever gonna win a World Cup riding conservatively or riding like riding really calculated, which has always been tough for me because I feel like my riding style and my racing style and even just my nature, I'm like pretty calculated. And I think to win a World Cup or to be, at the very top end of our sport, I think you really have to almost like switch your brain off and ride with instinct and I think being really calculated, it's it's helpful over a season where you can stay consistent and maybe not crash and not get injured, but to win or to be like like on the podium, I think it can be a disadvantage. Um, so I looked like I was like, right, I'm not gonna like ride conservatively here. I'm gonna go for it, see what happens, and that's exactly what I did, and it almost worked out. Like, I mean, I probably came into that top section a little bit too fired up, like riding a little bit too aggressively. But the big mistake that I made was sort of just like the track had blown out. Like I kind of knew that it would be tough going last on that track because it was so dry and so loose that even just from quali day the day before, like all the lines were getting pushed out so wide. I knew the track would be kind of going away, and there was just one like pretty easy corner across like a road, and the rut was just like 1 foot over to the right where it had been, and I came in like normal speed and saw the rut was kind of gone and like tried to correct and my front pushed, and so it was just one of those things like um I think I did great to save it and I did great to not crash, but it's just like, yeah, if I'd have known that, I would have maybe slowed up a little bit, but then you would have also gone slower. So I would rather, I definitely, I don't have any regrets. I went for it and yeah, I made mistakes, but I also rode really, really well at the bottom. Like the last three sectors, I won the last three sectors and I made up so much time, which I look back at that and I'm like, that's pretty sick that I was able to do that. I'm like stoked. I'm proud on that. So proud of that. So yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Like, yeah, I haven't figured out how to win one of these, but I'm definitely getting closer.
Sure sounds it, and I felt for you at Lenshider, but I also thought that to me was you pushing as hard as you could, and that's why that mistake happened in my mind. From looking from the outside, I was like, well,
Yeah,
he can be proud because it wasn't like he rode conservatively and got fourth.
yeah,
He pushed as hard as he could, and that was like he pushed in the wrong place. Fine, and that's awesome that you were able to keep that strategy at Lake Placid. You could have easily been like, okay, I'm fastest. I can maybe I need to just get down, and
hmm
let the moment get to you. So and you're totally right. It just seems there are a lot of guys that are capable of winning a World Cup more than ever, and there's a lot of guys that seem to be willing to throw, caution to the wind. So that must have
yeah,
been tough, like you say, your riding style, you and Troy as well. Like it is hard to, because back in the day, that would get you podiums and close to wins, just being like so methodical. But it seems like the
yeah,
sport's now progressed a bit more.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's funny, like people talk about, in 2018 when I qualified first at all those races and um, had some really good results, but it never really panned out. And they're like, "Oh, like you were so fast then." Like, no, no, I'm way faster now. Like the level since then it's almost incomparable. Um, Both like not just at the top, but like the whole just how deep the field is. Um, yeah, so like I always like thought that was kind of funny how people's perception of it maybe isn't as accurate as maybe it should be. Like the last few years, like any race that I've been in top five, I'm like, okay, like that's my new best race ever because the level of the field these days is just it's insane. Even just to qualify, like we were talking about earlier, is a pretty insane achievement. But to be on the podium or close to wins in this era is, at least in my experience, because I've been racing a few years now, so I can speak on it a little bit. Like I just know that the level now is really really tough. Um, so yeah, it, like you said, there's I don't think there's anyone who can be conservative and win races. Like you have to take risks. You have to yeah, kind of like lay it out there and be like, right, like this if this works, I'll be fast, but it's definitely there's an element to like rolling the dice a bit if you want to be on the top.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. You can see with some of the race run crashes, as well as like you got to be willing to make a mistake. Maybe not just like have a huge crash, but you're pushing the limit
Yeah.
where you might push the rut, or you might,
Yeah, you're on the edge of the
break.
traction from first
Yeah,
corner to the finish line. Like,
yeah. And if it pans out, you get a great result, and if it doesn't, you drown your sorrows. More than ever, it
yeah,
seems. Where yeah, you could definitely nurse it down. Not too many years ago, and get top tens, and well, when the podium was five riders, I guess. How many years have you done? What year was this of your World Cup career?
20 2013 was my first year junior, and yeah, since 2013 I've raced, yeah, full World Cup
So you've
season.
had
So
two juniors, and then so 13, 14, so 15 was your first year elite. So
yeah,
this was like your 10th year.
yeah,
Dude, that's madness. Luca Shaw, 10th year. That's
I know.
crazy. I
Yeah,
always
it's
lock
crazy.
people. I had this funny conversation. I think it was with Ollie on their podcast. Do you feel sometimes you lock your friends or people into a certain age? Like Brendan to me is not a father of two kids. He's just
Yeah,
like he's maybe 25 at most. And like
yeah, yeah. I
Luca
know what you
Shaw to
mean.
me is like you're probably like 22. You're always the young guy. When I met you, you were young. You did some silly
Yeah,
stuff back then. You haven't grown up in my mind. And I feel like it's you just lock people into their personality types,
for sure.
and their
Yeah, it's
age.
nuts. I definitely it's funny. It's I start to feel like I'm one of the veterans now, though. Like even just with like some of my teammates, like they're so much younger than me, and like there's certain things that like I I like struggle to relate to them in certain ways, like just because of there's like generation age gap or whatever. So yeah, it's funny. I'm definitely yeah, been doing it for a while now, so it's cool. I do enjoy it. Like I feel like it gets, at least for me, it's like more fun and more enjoyable now that I've kind of been there and done that. I feel like it's a little bit easier to deal with the stress and the racing and the pressure, and I don't know. It's just things kind of slow down, and it's yeah, it's nice. I'm enjoying it.
And I was going to ask, your young teammate had quite the year. What is that like? Having a teammate, does it push you? Are you able to maybe learn from some of the different stuff he's doing? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, I've got two young teammates really, but I assume you're talking about Kiefer,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then there's Aletha too,
yeah,
who's
yeah,
even
yeah.
younger. But
Yeah. I mean,
and they
they
both killed
probably,
it this year.
yeah, you probably definitely don't relate to either. Like, they speak different languages, I think.
For sure. No, it was cool to see. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't that surprised because I've seen him come up the last few years, and he's dealt with injuries and hasn't really like clicked for him fully. But this year was like, yeah, just full season, no injuries, and he was. I mean, from the first race of the year, like it was pretty clear that he had like the speed to like mix it up on the podium with the top guys. So yeah, just it was kind of insane to see his progression this year. Um, I mean, the first podium he had, I think Leah Gang, he was, yeah, so close to the win actually. Like straight away, like I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what his best result was before that, but it was like quite a jump. It was like a definitely a big leap for him. And then yeah, I mean, I think from talking to him, I think he definitely struggled a bit with the consistency of like getting through qualies and dealing with like crashes and stuff. But that's completely normal at that age. But I mean, yeah, when he was able to put a full clean run down, he was one of the top three guys. Like it was madness. So yeah, super impressive from him, and on different tracks as well, like all different types of tracks. So yeah, it was crazy.
But I mean, it seems like it's lifted all you guys. Like, you guys have had different good results at different times, and you guys won the overall as well, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and Troy was right there in the top 10 in the overall. Maybe didn't always spark like some of his results he was maybe hoping for. but I mean that's kind of where we are with the level, you know. But
Yeah.
it seems like it's kind of like, you know, rising tide lifts all ships. You know, and on your team you've got Marine that also came over and had an incredible year. So it was
Yeah.
pretty cool to see. Are there times when you mention like not relating to them? Is there anything you can share where you're like, wow, that's a bit silly? Like, what are the youngsters doing that's silly in that pit of yours? Where you just like, he's not gonna listen, but that ain't gonna work.
No, like, yeah, it's hard to think of a example, but like just like with the TikTok and Snapchat and like the amount of like just I swear they have like a different lingo. Like so many of the words that they use, like uh I just don't even know what they mean. So stuff like that, I just feel old. Um, yeah, I mean, I went to public school my whole like school life, and I didn't really have a phone till I was, getting kind of older. So like that's definitely different for the kids now. Like so many of them are homeschooled, and so many of them just like kind of live on their phones, which is not. I mean, it's just different. So like stuff like that is kind of nuts, but um, yeah, not saying one's right or wrong, it's just different.
It's crazy how well a lot of the youngsters deal with it. Like wouldn't deal with all the inputs and being on Instagram that much at a race. I'd have to like park the phone.
Yeah,
And there's this doctor that's saying the magnetic electricity and energy that like our brains are going through with all the inputs we have at the moment is that of a schizophrenic brain from like the 60s. It's I'm going to
yeah,
butcher some of that, but it's you get the overarching
yeah,
idea there. Like there's so much stimulant coming in, and these kids, if they just always Snapchatting, TikTok, and all that, I think you probably similar to me. Like, okay, put the phone over there. Let me go do some practice for a while. But it
yeah,
is
for
it
sure.
is all consuming. Like you guys have got the WhatsApp groups for lines, and like how much of a challenge is that? Like it just seems like there's a lot
Yeah,
of information out there at these at races and race teams trying to get that
for
edge.
sure. Yeah, I mean, like I feel like I'm one of the few now who actually like don't ride with their phone. Like I still find it crazy that people like practice at a World Cup with their phone in their pocket, or some of them race with their phone in their pocket. Like to me, I mean, call me old school, but like that seems crazy. Like, I mean, that's an expensive that's an expensive phone you got. Like if you land on a rock and you break your phone,
Dude, you can't be without your phone there, even in a World Cup race run. You never know who's gonna call.
yeah, no, I was fun. It was funny. Like there was a couple runs this year where Aletha like forgot her goggles for practice, and like I was like joking. I was like, she forgot her goggles. Guarantee you, she didn't forget her phone.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny stuff like that. Yeah, and like for me, like I don't know. I've always been like, um, I even just with like GoPros, like stuff like that. Like I don't really like having like technology and waiting for this to load and this and that. Like with like just my day-to-day life. So like even just like dealing with my GoPro camera or like my onboard camera, I'm just like it's always annoying to me to like deal with. And then there's like the lines coming through on the WhatsApp group, and it's just like too much. It's like let me just ride. Like I'll figure it out. Um so yeah, it's just I don't know. It's kind of a weird example, but stuff like that is just different. Like the kids are so used to their gadgets.
Yeah, no, I mean it does age us a bit, or it ages me for sure. But I am blown away at the amount of information. Like obviously done some lines code, and I'll support the guys at Scott. But I'll say to Flo, like I'm just gonna send you a few of these videos. Like you
Yeah.
don't need another guy sending more information on this group from my mind. Like you're the head coach for sure. Like I can help you. I'll be your eyes where you need me to. But I'm like, and then say some other people help and they're just sending videos of the videos. I'm like, guys, how are you going to make a decision now? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like
No, it's
less is
funny
more at a certain stage, you know?
for sure. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I actually there was one race this year where I told Fabian that he needed to like not send me so much or not tell me so much, like at least not so early on in the weekend. Um, like to me, I need to just like ride the track and find the flow and get used to the dirt and my bike and everything before I start to like dive into those like really fine details. Um, especially yeah, like first day of practice or even before you've practiced, like getting the lines through from like the juniors and stuff. Um, yeah, I feel like I like to sort of take it more slow at the beginning and just like get the flow, and then you know when it comes time for quali or night before the race, I'll like kind of look at it a couple sections in more detail if I need to, but um, yeah, it's so much information, and I think if you don't like filter it correctly, you can kind of just like be overwhelmed, and then like also I feel like it's easy to start riding like looking like down at your front tire, being like, "Oh, I need to be left of this rock," or it's always kind of struggled with that when it's like too much info. You start to like, I don't know. For me, I start to like think way more when I ride, and then you're not riding very well. So, um, yeah, having the right info, but in the right at the right times is kind of important, I think.
Yeah, and you said a good thing, like you mentioned to Fabian, like I feel like riders should try understand what they need, and maybe when you're young, you don't really know, and you've got the experience to know, okay, this is too much, so this is what I need,
Yeah,
and the coach can help you, different to help Troy, different to Marine. So I like that, but you it's quite a fine line because like the schedule's tight, man. Like
yeah,
how tight is it to be up to speed for? Well, we just spoke early in the podcast. Like you got to be up to speed for Q1. It's a race run, but
yeah,
you don't have all the time in the world to figure out the line. So you messaging your teammate like, okay, where, or your team manager like, okay, where must I go there? Like I don't have time to go and look. It's like it's quite
yeah,
a fine line at the moment. But I guess I'm hearing, yeah, you can learn a lot from you saying like experience will help you with like, okay, if I need to make an adjustment, I can make it close to quali if it needs to be.
for sure. Yeah, and like with time practice too, that's like a big part of the weekend for some guys, and for me, I've always like that's like way too early for me to like think about riding that fast. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, my like I've always done like a full run in time practice, but I've never really looked at the times that much or like thought about like, oh man, I'm off the pace or whatever. Like I know I'm gonna be off the pace. It's my fourth run on the track. Like I've always like taken that approach where it's like, I mean, some riders are always pushing for a top 3, top 5, top 10 in time practice, and for me, I don't really feel ready to go that fast that early in the weekend. So um, that's just another thing that I'm totally confident still, even if I'm 15 seconds off. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, it's practice. I'm not ready to like pedal out of every corner and like go for a fast run yet. Um, yeah, I mean everyone's different though. I mean, for me that works, but um, it's definitely like, I mean, Bruni, he's always top. He's always fast in time practice, and it obviously works really well for him. But yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I mean it certainly is interesting. It is nice when you do a timed run and you're up there, it builds your confidence, and then but if you don't, you can just say I wasn't going that quick. I guess it's an off-season race. Like, what are you going to see? If you are ready and you want to do a time, then you got to be willing to accept if you're off the pace.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
There's that like catch 22 of it. But I'm just you said on some other podcasts like you feel like you did potentially 300 downhill runs in the last off season leading into the season. Like it's that much these days.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot. I mean, um, I think it was something like that. Maybe 250. I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I've got it written down, but um, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, that's starting like early December, like through January, February, all the off season races, team camps, riding at home. Like yeah, it adds up. So um, I think that's kind of part of it now. Like you have to like put that time in and really do your homework. Because I mean, again, like you said, like when you get to the races, there's not any time to mess around. Like it's learn the track, learn the track, and then go race. Like there's no, if you're messing with your bike or second guessing your setup, then you're already behind the ball. And yeah, even all summer, you just go from race to race. Like there's not time to really test or catch up or work on things in between the races. Like we're pretty much going from race to race to race, and then the season's done. So yeah, it's definitely important to have all that stuff dialed in, and at least feel like you know what you're doing with like your bike setup and the changes you might make, or have tried all the options out and have kind of a plan set before you go racing, and then kind of stick with it. That's at least my approach.
Yeah, I mean, and how you were testing, like these days, everyone's testing and everyone's telemetry, and like we just spoke, like there's a lot of information out there. Like,
Yeah.
how do you look at that, and how do you view tested?
Yeah, I mean, it's a still something that I'm figuring out, but I think for me, like I don't feel like I'm the pickiest rider as far as like needing my bike setup to be perfect for every track. Like I kind of like to have my bike, like my base setup and my bike setup. I want to like find a comfy spot and then just like get used to it. Um, so that's sort of what we did this year. Like we actually this past off season, we did almost all of our suspension testing with RockShox was like blind testing. Like so basically like they would be like, try this and try that, and they wouldn't really give me much info on like what I'm trying. So then it kind of that works well for me, because then I don't have like an idea like, oh, I'm gonna feel this, so I need to like make sure my feedback makes sense so that I don't sound like an idiot. So like for me, it was like, yeah, way more like just based on my feeling and my uh yeah, just my feeling, and not really have any like preconceived like thoughts about what I might feel. And then yeah, I mean, we worked really closely with RockShox this year, and that was a really good thing for me. Those guys are really really awesome to work with, and basically just got the whole bike set up in a spot that I liked, and to be honest, didn't really touch it the whole season. Um, like we of course did little tweaks here and there, and we used the data at the races to kind of just make sure that nothing's off, or nothing's kind of throwing any red flags, and then kind of just race. So um, yeah, couldn't have done it without like Jim, my mechanic Jim. He's just super dialed and super, he makes sure everything is perfect, and it was awesome to work with him, and it made my job a lot easier.
Are you a little bit more of a feel guy than the time? Like if you really like the feeling, but the time's a second slower, like where you going with the setup then?
Yeah, I would say always feeling first. Like especially that's like one of the things that's so hard too, is like to get on a track that's really World Cup relevant in the winter is tough. So
Mm.
so I think you have to, and that's again where I think experience comes into play. Like if something feels good in the winter at home on like maybe like flatter, smoother tracks, like you kind of have always in the back of your head, like, okay, but how's this going to be at Val de Sol, which is like, you can't really find a track like Val de Sol to test on, like, especially in the winter. It's just almost impossible. So like, that's why I always kind of lean towards feeling, because if you're testing on a track at home in the winter, on a Tuesday in February when it's cold and you've done one warm up run, it's like, oh, it's faster here, but it's like, okay, but we don't care about being fast in February. Like we're trying to be fast in middle of the summer in Europe on a totally different track. So, the times are a good reference for sure, and it's important to have that information, but there's so many variables when it comes to the times, like even just down to like, oh, well, like, did you just ride better that run? Like, that's a huge part of it. We're not robots. Like, every run is going to be different effort or different execution. Um, so yeah, in the end, I'll go by feel.
Yeah, I like that answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer, but I can relate to that answer for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
And I,
if you don't have the feel, like how are you confident to push? If you don't know what your bike's gonna
exactly.
do
Yeah.
or how it's gonna react. So it is a
Yeah.
huge component of it.
Yeah. And I mean, having the time is a great tool. And I think it's important to, at the end of the day, yeah, that's what matters. Like the clock, like we're trying to go fast. Like that's like always should be like guiding you. But if you're splitting hairs, if you're talking about half a second on a long track or whatever, it's like you have to kind of trust your gut too. So, um, but don't get me wrong, if we're talking like 5 seconds, then I'm gonna
Then
think
then you
about
go in then you
that.
go in the Fabian Burrell, whatever the crazy setup it is. You got me 5 seconds. You set the bike up. We'll ride
Yeah.
anything. We'll ride drop bars if it's
Yeah.
5 seconds faster.
Sheesh. Yeah. Hopefully not, but
Hey, as we wind down, like, what's the off season gonna look like? How much of a break do you like to take? What gets your mind off racing? And then looking forward, like what Luca's showing up next year, like without giving secrets away, what do you want to work on?
yeah, I mean, off season definitely just home, not training. Like I'll definitely take a good break this year, I think. Yeah, I mean, we race so much later into the year like we talked about, and I mean, first World Cup's not till May next year, so there's plenty of time to get the training in and get ready for next season. So, yeah, I'll probably not be on like a real structured training program till December. Um, but of course, like I luckily I enjoy training. I enjoy going to the gym. I pretty much enjoy all the training I do, barring like a few interval sessions that I wouldn't mind leaving out. But but like a lot of the stuff that I do for training, I quite enjoy. So it's pretty easy for me to like stay in shape and I just enjoy to go to the gym and work out and ride my dirt bike and ride my bike. So that's never too much of an issue for me. But yeah, start getting back into the training routine. I'd say in December. I need to talk to my trainer, Jarrett. Jarrett Kolich, best trainer in the world. But he's gonna. I'm sure he's got some tricks up his sleeve for this year. But yeah, we'll get back in the lab here in December probably. But yeah, I actually don't really know what my off season looks like as far as like testing, team camps, that kind of stuff yet. But usually, well, actually, we do have a RockShox test already in November in a few weeks, so straight back to work on that side of things. But with the team, usually like we'll do a January camp somewhere, and then we'll do like some preseason races starting like March. A few more testing camps, but yeah, up until then, I'm excited to yeah ride my dirt bike, watch football on my couch, play some golf. I've been trying to get better at
There,
golf.
dude, I was gonna say you owe me a visit in South Africa. Well, not me. You owe Yolanda a visit in South Africa. I will
Yeah,
just happen
yeah,
to be here as well. So you seem pretty free up until December,
yeah,
mid
yeah. That
December.
actually
There's golf courses. There's
okay.
sunny trails. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be home at least for the next month or so while it's still pretty good weather here. But get when it gets to January, February, I might be giving you a call, Needles. I
Yeah,
might
yeah.
I might have to pay a visit.
Let's let's
Um,
let's do it, dude. I'll keep your mind off the race season, and it's a stressful time. We'll get you on the golf course, and then we'll get those.
perfect.
I'll get your coach to text me what intervals I need to spectate. I'll just ride on the e-bike with a whip. Yeah, there's nothing
Oh,
worse than intervals, man. They just never get easy. You just go faster up the road, and then the recovery time just feels shorter. It seems.
yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, I guess just one of them things, man. It has to get done, but it's never fun.
Well, you got to
If it
pay to
was fun,
you got to
everyone
pay
would
to
do it.
play.
So
Exactly. You got to pay to
yeah.
play, man, as they say. So, dude, this has been awesome. Thanks for like I haven't done like a season wrap up before, but thanks to Boa, we're teammates. So, yeah, you've been on the on the Boa Fit system for a while. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
thanks for doing that, and all the best for football season. I hope you have some
Oh
fun
yeah.
tailgates out there. You've earned it.
Yeah, we will. We for sure will. So yeah, should be good.
Cool, bro. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, Needles. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Moving the Needle podcast, brought to you by Boa. From the bike park to backcountry lines, Boa keeps you dialed in. Learn more about how Boa is changing the game at boafit.com.